Hi, I'm Pastor Sammy, and I'm so glad you've decided to join me again for another special message about this week's Gospel reading. Now, this week we get to hear a story from Mark's Gospel, all the way at the beginning of the story. And this is when the people are trying to figure out, who is this Jesus guy? Even Jesus' own family, his mother and his brothers, they see him, this guy that they know so well, have spent every day with for the last 30 years. This guy that they know so well, Jesus, is doing stuff they've never seen him do before. He's teaching with power and authority, and he's healing people. He's performing miracles. He's casting out demons. It's wild. And they are trying to figure out, is this really as good as it seems? Is Jesus really doing the things? Our Jesus, is he really doing this stuff out in the world? Is this really that good? Or is there maybe something not so good happening here? Is it possible that Jesus isn't actually working with God, but is actually working with Satan instead? They were afraid. This is so strange to them that they were afraid that Jesus wasn't actually on God's side, but was on Satan's side instead. Oh, it's so hard for us to imagine that could be true. We know it's not true, but you can understand maybe a little bit of why Jesus' family was so scared. I mean, imagine if it was true. They would have to stop him. Well, here is what Jesus says to his family when they accuse him of that. He says, "Who are my mother and my brothers then?" And looking at those who sat around him, he said, "Well, here, these are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother." That's what Jesus says to the people around him, that if his own family can't see that he is working with God here, doing God's will in the world, not Satan's, then his mother and his brothers, he's going to have to leave them. And instead, the people gathered around him who are listening or joining him in this good work that God is doing in the world, they are his brothers and sisters and mother instead. Isn't that amazing? Because you and I, we're trying to be a part of what God is doing in the world too. So doesn't that mean that you and I are also Jesus's siblings? Isn't that amazing? And that means that Jesus treats us like family. Jesus loves us unconditionally. Jesus forgives us when we make mistakes, and we can still stay close even when we let each other down. We ask for forgiveness, and we try to do better next time. That's how family treats one another. Nothing can separate us from one another because we are always family. That's how Jesus treats us. Now, doesn't that also mean that all of us who are trying to do God's will, all of us who are trying to follow Jesus, even if we make mistakes sometimes, all of us who call ourselves Christians, we are brothers and sisters. We are siblings to one another as well. So that means that we take care of each other, that we ask for forgiveness and that we forgive one another when we make mistakes, that we make sure that everybody has what they need and that we love one another. I think that is what Jesus is calling us into, this radical, amazing family, this new family that gets made when Jesus unites all of us as one family, joining us together in love. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again next time.